Hello, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Football Discussion Daily. I'm your host, CGO. Please endeavor to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and on the other platforms as well. Thank you very much for doing that. And then today we'll be looking at games that will be played on March 11 of the ongoing 2026 FIFA World Cup in co-hosted by United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. These games will be played on Sunday, June 21, 2026. And we have four games that will be played in Group G and Group H. The fixtures for match day 11 is going to be Spain slugging it out with Saudi Arabia. That game will be played at the Atlanta Stadium in Atlanta. And then the time for that game will be 12 noon Eastern time. And then the second game for match day 11 is going to be a Group G clash between Belgium and Iran. That game will be played at Los Angeles Stadium in Los Angeles. The time, kickoff time for that game is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the third game for match day 11 is going to be a Group H clash between Uruguay and Cape Verde. The time for that game is 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That game will be played at the Miami Stadium in Miami. And then the last game for match day 11 is going to be a Group G clash between New Zealand and the Pharaohs of Egypt. The time for that game is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The match will be played at BC Place in Vancouver. That is in Vancouver, in Canada. That's where that game will be played. So those are the four games that will be played on March the 11th of the FIFA World Cup. And if we are to analyze each of these games, the game between Saudi Arabia and the Spanish team is going to be a very interesting encounter because in this Group H tie, in the first game, each of these teams played against the opponent they faced. They all played a draw. The Spanish team, surprisingly, they played a goalless draw against debutant Cape Verde in their opening game. Everybody was surprised that the Spaniards played a draw in that game. Everyone was expecting them to get a comfortable win in that encounter, but it never happened that way. So currently, they will be under serious pressure. For Saudi Arabia, getting a draw against Uruguay to them is a good result because when you look at the pedigree of these two teams, definitely one would think Uruguay would have, the Uruguay team would have defeated Saudi Arabia, but that didn't happen. In fact, the Uruguayans will be happy they were able to get the equalizer in that game because defensively, the Saudi Arabian team were very, very compact in that game. They did so well. They make sure they covered a lot of spaces so that the Uruguayans are not able to penetrate. And the goalkeeper of Saudi Arabia was also very outstanding on that day, made a lot of save. So for this particular game, I'm sure the Saudi Arabian team will try to play a low block. They are most likely to play a tactical formation of 4-4-2. If not, maybe they might like to play maybe tactical formation of 5-4-1, considering the way the Spaniards normally approach the game. Most times the Spaniards play possessive football. They always like to dominate when they play against their opponent. And the Saudi Arabia team, I'm sure they are aware of this. They will try to be very careful. They would like to take serious caution, try to prevent the Spaniards from having spaces to explore in their defensive area. So it's going to be a very tough encounter. Saudi Arabia and Spain have met on 3 occasions before now. And I think they met September 7 of 2012, and that game was an international friendly which the Spaniards won. And then in May 29 or 2010, they also played an international friendly. The Spaniards defeated Saudi Arabia 3-2. And then in June 2020, June 23, 2006, they played at the 2006 FIFA World Cup, which was hosted by Germany at the group stage, and the Spaniards defeated them 1-0. So they've only met once at the World Cup. This would be their second meeting at the World Cup. So on 3 occasions, they played against the Spaniards. The Spaniards were the winners. This time around, Spaniards would still want to maintain that 100% record they have against the Saudi Arabian team. On the side of the Saudi Arabian team, they would like to make history by trying to get a win or at least a draw in this encounter in order to possibly get something much positive in their last game against Cape Verde. So it's going to be a very tough game. In the game, Spain played against Cape Verde. Spain had 27 shots, but they couldn't get a goal in that encounter. In fact, the possession they had was 74%, which tells you how dominant they were in that particular encounter. So I'm sure the coach of Saudi Arabia, he must have watched that game and he must have seen the way the Cape Verde team were able to stop the Spaniards. So I feel they will also like to play low block in this particular encounter and then try to take maybe the Spaniards on a counter, something similar to what they played against Uruguay. So I'm sure Giorgio's Donis will try to set up his team in a way that at least they can get something good out of this game, because a draw for Saudi Arabia is something that it will be a good result for Saudi Arabia. And then if you're able to get a win, then that will be a huge one for the Saudi Arabian team. But I know it's going to really be a very big game. It's going to be a very tough game. It's not going to be easy. I'm sure the coach of Spain, Luis de la Fuente, will be strategizing at this point to ensure he feeding the right players that can at least give him the result. Players like Lamine Yamal, even though he just recovered from injury, we are not sure if he'll be able to play 90 minutes. But I'm sure players like Danny Olmo will be there to see how they could help. And then players like Pedri, Fabian Rios will like to explore pockets of spaces to see how they can create opportunities for the forward players to possibly get goals for the Spaniards in this game. And then they have a good striker called Mikel Oyarzabal, who I'm sure if he has the opportunity, he can help the Spaniards in this encounter. That is, if they are able to have clear chances in this game. So it's not argument that the Spaniards are favorite to win this game. Definitely, the Saudi Arabian team are the underdog. So if the Spaniards, if Spain wins this game, it's not going to be a huge news. But if Saudi Arabia wins this game, that would be a big upset and a big news. So that is what it will be. So we look forward to see what happens in this game between Spain and Saudi Arabia. And then the other game between Belgium and Iran. Definitely, the Iranian team, I don't know if they'll be able to go toe to toe against Belgium in this particular encounter, because the Belgian team, they have very quality players that can hold their own any day, anytime. Players like Kevin De Bruyne, they'll have the responsibility of seeing how they can help this team secure victory. This is going to be a Group G clash between this side. Remember, in that group also, we had the Belgians playing a 1-1 draw against Egypt in their first game. So what it means is that they are now under pressure to ensure they get victory in this particular game. In the game against Egypt, they conceded first, and they had to mount lots of pressure before they were able to get the equalizer, especially when Romelu Lukaku was introduced in that game, it took few seconds for him to make his physical presence to really count. I'm sure in this game, the coach, Rudy Garcia, might likely want to start Lukaku in this game because you need somebody with great physicality to be able to bully the defense of the Iranian team in this game. The Iranian team, I feel the strategy they would like to use in this game because the Belgians normally play free-flowing football. They play possessive football as well. They like to be dominant. So it's most likely we might see the Iranian team trying to play low block and possibly take the Belgians on a counter-attack to possibly score a goal or more. Players like Mehdi Taremi, who is the striker of the Iranians, I'm sure a lot of responsibility is going to be on his shoulder to see how he can ensure that the Iranians are able to spring a surprise in this encounter. For this game, the Iranians are the underdog. The Belgians are favorite to win this encounter. So, Belgium, I'm tipping them to get victory in this encounter because they need a win if they want to get to the round of 32. So this is an opportunity for them to redeem their image. They will be missing the presence of Jeremy Doku, who has been ruled out for this encounter because of illness. That is a big blow for the squad because we know what Jeremy Doku can do when he's with the ball. When it comes to one-on-one against defenders, very, very skillful when it comes to dribbling, and he's a very pacey player. And in the recent time, Jeremy Doku has really improved when it comes to scoring. He has added scoring goals to his game. So I'm sure they are going to miss him. But players like Leandro Trossard, I'm sure the onus is on them to step up and see how they can help this team. Players like Thomas Muinia, Timothy Castagna, this is an opportunity for them to step up their game and try to help the Belgians get the much desired result. So I'm sure it's going to be an interesting game in the game between Belgium and then the Iranian team. The game between Uruguay and Cape Verde, which is a Group H clash. Uh, these two teams have 1 point each. The Cape Verde team, this is the first time they are playing at the World Cup. They were able to get a positive result against Spain. I'm sure that will be a big motivation for them go into this game. That will give them some level of belief that they can get something positive out of this encounter. For this particular game, the Cape Verde team, they are the underdog. The Uruguayan team, who are two-time champions of the World Cup, they are favorite to win this particular encounter. When you look at the kind of players they have, players like Federico Valverde, who will be marshalling things in the midfield with Manuel Ugarte. You talk about Rodrigo Benteke, who is a player of Tottenham. These are players that are well known, very well established players. And then up front, they'll be looking forward to see players like Darwin Nunes, Federico Venas helping this team to get a victory against Cape Verde. The Cape Verde team will most likely adopt a form of a low block in this encounter. I don't see them coming all out to play toe-to-toe or try to be dominant in possession when they play against Uruguay because we know the way Marcelo Bielsa's team normally plays. They always play more of possessive football. They like to be dominant when they play. So I'm sure they must have watched the clip between Saudi Arabia and Uruguay, and they must have seen that the Saudi Arabian team played a kind of low block and then tried to take Uruguay on a counter attack, and somehow they were able to get a goal before Uruguay later equalized. So I'm sure they will most likely adopt the same system. Their coach, Bubista, I'm sure that's the kind of system he will most likely play in this game, which will not be too far off from what we saw they played against the Spaniards when they played their opening game of the FIFA World Cup. I'm sure it's going to be a very exciting game. And then their goalkeeper, who is a 40-year-old goalkeeper, Vozinha, I'm sure a lot of people will be looking forward to seeing put up the kind of wonderful performance which he put up against the Spaniards. He made 7 saves, and those 7 saves were very important saves to make sure that the team didn't lose against the Spaniards. And their defenders, Gan Costa, I'm sure he has a lot of responsibility to make sure he coordinates the other defenders so that they don't get exposed at the back. And then their forward player who is called Dylon Livramento, he has a lot of responsibility. I'm sure he will be involved when it comes to things that has to do with counter-attacking when they play against Uruguay. It's going to be a very interesting game, but if we are looking at the pedigree of both sides, Uruguay, they are favored to win this game, but we should never write off Cape Verde. Cape Verde, they look very compact. They look highly disciplined defensively, and nobody can write them off. They might come in this game and surprise the Uruguayan team. And then for the game between Egypt and New Zealand is one team that I've been so impressed with their performance, with players like Chris Wood and Elijah Jost, who will be leading the front line of the New Zealand team. I think this team is a team we must not take for granted. We must not underestimate them. We saw the way they played against the Iranians. They took the lead on 2 occasions. Then the Iranians also replied. So they were leading 1-0. The Iranians got the equalizer. They went on to get a second goal. The Iranians equalized again. And those 2 goals they scored was by Elijah Jost. I'm sure he will be motivated to um, helped the New Zealand team alongside Chris Wood, who provided the 2 assists in that game. Their partnership looks so beautiful. I think both of them are players the Egyptian defenders must really look out for. They must try everything possible to stop them if they want to really get victory in this encounter. But the Egyptian team I saw play against Belgium, they looked very good. They looked, when it comes to cohesion. They looked very cohesive in their play. They looked very dominant in times of possession. They really dictated the tempo of the game in that encounter. And I foresee a situation where they will most likely like to do the same thing. I don't see the New Zealand team trying to be defensive. I think they might want to come out and play against the Egyptians in this encounter. So it's going to be a very interesting game. Both sides, all they have 1 point each because Belgium and Egypt played a 1-1 draw. New Zealand also played a 2-2 draw against Iran. So what it means is that uh, each of these teams needs to win in order to boost their chances of making it to the round of 32. And I feel that the Egyptians, they have what it takes with a player like Mohamed Salah, the likes of Mamouche, in the Egyptian team. I feel that the Egyptians have what it takes to really get a victory in this particular encounter. Omar Mamouche is a very good striker. We know what he can do on his day, and then you must not forget about uh, Imam Asher, who scored Egypt's first goal in this competition. He scored the goal that the goal against for Egypt against Belgium. I'm sure he will be he will most likely start this game, and we are looking forward to see what he can do to help the Egyptians in this particular encounter. For this game, Egyptians look they are like the favorite for this particular encounter. Both teams have played on 3 occasions. They met July 10 of 1999. The Egyptians played 1-1 draw against them. And July 15 of 1999, Egypt defeated them 1-0 in Cairo. And then March 22, 2024, in a FIFA series Egypt won them 1-0 in Cairo. So if you look at it, it has always been a very keenly contested game, very close one. And I think that is what we'll most likely see in this encounter. If there's going to be a win, then it's going to be a very close one, a slim win. I don't see, because the New Zealand team, they look very improved. They looked good the way they played against Iran. So the Egyptians will not find it easy, but I'm sure, based on the pedigree of both sides, the Egyptians are favored to win this particular encounter. But we shouldn't underestimate what the New Zealand team can do. New Zealand has what it takes to spring a surprise in this encounter. Please, if you have your comments to share on what for these games that will be played for match 11, match day 11, please be free to share your comments, share your predictions with. Thank you very much for watching, and do have a wonderful time. Bye for now.